But like page, yeah. Soft. Yeah. Scroll in the tube, found a star in the chaos. Duty spitting facts like a modern day seance. Trending waves, politics in the spotlight. Raw with the wit, hits you sharp like a frostbite. Come on y'all, let's discuss her anthem, her creed. Breaking down the drama, uncovering the greed. Laugh through the truth, it's enlightenment with flair. 2D talk sense, ain't no nonsense over there. Come on, we tuned into 2D's vibe. High energy keeps the
Hey y'all, hey, welcome to 2D Talk Sense, talking about some frostbite up in the intro song. Baby, it is cold here in Chicago. When I tell you I got into work at 7 a.m., I looked out the window, it was exactly 7:43. It was dark, but it wasn't raining, it wasn't snowing. I looked out the window, 7:43, baby, all white. It was white everywhere. I said, when did the snow start? Why is it snowing, Jesus? And like, because you live in Chicago, duh, and it's January, duh. But yeah, that's how it's going over here. So I said, I'm going to just do one subject because the last time I was recording and it was just raining, the doggone internet was messed up. So I'm gonna do this one little subject and then I'm gonna get out of here because I'm recording this at lunchtime. So y'all know I don't be having time because the big bag needs to eat. Okay. Now, as y'all know, it's been everywhere. Right now there is protests in Minnesota due to the fact that a woman, a mother of 3, was unalived by an ICE agent, shot 3 times in the head for war. I covered the video because according to Kristi Noem and Trump and JD Vance, she was a domestic terrorist who was mowing over ICE officers. But when the video came out, the video contradicts that. And you could obviously see her hand was turning away from her. She was turning the wheel away from the officer when she put off. And he shot 3 times, straight shot 3 times. She ended up passing. And so now there's protests over that situation going on in Minneapolis. It have came out that a lot of people was discussing that the procedures for ICE, first of all, they reduced the training. So I believe it's 47 days, if I'm not mistaken, 47 days to become an ICE agent. And also there was a study that came out. What's this, y'all? Y'all have to put in the comments. I believe it's in the 90s. Put in the comments if I'm wrong. But it changed the whole law enforcement guidelines that law enforcement should not, first of all, you should not walk in the path. You should not walk in the front of a vehicle. And a vehicle is trying to flee. You are supposed to let that vehicle flee. And it's in ICE guidelines as well, that you're supposed to let that vehicle flee because you can get the license plate. You can, but the harm that could be done with you shooting at a fleeing vehicle that can hit bystanders, the bullets could hit bystanders, and besides, the car, once you shoot that person, the car could lose controls and could danger the life of innocent bystanders as well. So that was also a thing that came up and that's been being discussed. But right now I want to talk to y'all about the fact that the federal prosecutors in Minnesota have quit their job. Multiple federal prosecutors quit due to the fact that they're not allowing them to investigate this shooting. So multiple federal prosecutors quit. So come on, y'all, let's discuss that. I'm going to read y'all the article about it, and then we're going to get on up out of here. Like the video as you come in, and also I'm trying to get to it. And also subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Follow me on all social media. And y'all know I always say to my subscribers, new and old,
thank you. You love me. You really love me.
Okay, so this is the article. And I always try to, but I still haven't got it right yet. I know it's not as big as everyone would like. I be trying to do something to make it bigger. But you could I'm gonna have the article up there. Y'all don't necessarily need to see my beautiful, good morning, beautiful, my beautiful face. So I just read the article. Now this is from theguardian.com. Federal prosecutors quit in protest over lack of evidence in the ICE shooting. Let me see. Nope, I'm gonna do it that way. In the ICE shooting, 6 lawyers from U.S. Attorney's Office in Minnesota quit, along with 4 leaders of DOJ Civil Rights Division. A wave of federal prosecutors in Minnesota and Washington, D.C. have resigned in protest over the Justice Department decision not to hold a civil rights investigation into a fatal shooting of an unarmed U.S. citizen by a federal immigration agent in Minneapolis. 6 lawyers from the U.S. Attorney in Minnesota quit on Tuesday over the department's reluctance to investigate the shooter of Renee Good, the New York Times reported. I believe I put her name as Goodman, and I'm going to have to fix that in the video. So my apologies if I did. I'm going to have to fix that. It's Renee Good. Among them is Joseph Thomas, who was second in command at the office and led a large-scale fraud inquiry last year that led in part to the Trump administration sending a surge of agents into the state. I still haven't put that video together, but it was a debunked video with a YouTuber, a young boy. Well, he's a young man. I think he's his early, like 19, 20, like early 20s. But this young man who MAGA paid for this investigation, where he went around Minnesota and was saying that the Somalians are having all these daycares that's open that don't have kids in it, and they collecting all these millions of federal money from the government, millions of government money that they're collecting, and it's all was fraud. And he went into a office building, like one of the buildings that set up that got different offices inside that was supposed to be medical practices. And he went in there and he was just saying like all these businesses are fraud. Now his video, when he went into the daycare center, he's talking about he can't get into the daycare center. Yeah, because he's saying the door is locked. I said, thank God my daycare that my kids go to, keep that door locked. Because if I would have been a parent and he was able to get his ass up into that daycare, we would have had problems. And I probably would have put my child from that daycare, because you're not supposed to be able to just walk willy-nilly up into a daycare. Especially, this is a bunch of Somalians, and not saying that there's no other race that lives there, but I am saying that the ones who be powing up shoes, that Catholic school, and then the Catholic school recently, and then before that, school where the majority of the victims was kindergartens, they kind of look like you, Nick, Shirley. So I wouldn't be opening no door, let your ass in either, because they know who parents belong there. And they know who don't. And your ass kid didn't go there. But he did this. Oh, well, I'm trying to get in to see, I want to register my kid. It came out that he was there, but the people that he had with him, I believe it was 4 to 6 bodyguards that was masked up men. So there was another older gentleman, white man, that said he's been investigating this as well. It was Nick. And then he had 4 to 6 bodyguards in army fatigue that was masked up. This was the Somalian community, the one they're eating cats and dogs, who already are, have at a heightened sense of fear due to ICE agents that's been there. So when he released this video, it got like 3 million, a ridiculous amount of views. Elon Musk reshared it. JD Vance reshared it. It went viral, super viral. Then the Trump administration sent more federal agents down there, even though the video had no proof that what he's saying was legit. There was a news station who went right after he did, once this video came out, and showed and went to some of these daycares that he said was fraud. And they showed videos of the same day that he was there, kids being dropped off and picked up from that very location. And there was absolutely no proof. But you take the White House took a YouTube video and started sending federal agents into Minnesota by the droves because of a young, inexperienced, non-journalist YouTube video. That's the point that we're at. So anyway, that's what this article is talking about. The Trump administration sending a surge of immigrants, agents into the state because they were saying that the Somalians there because of this mass Somalian fraud. Now there is fraud being investigated in Minnesota and have been for years. And when they found out, and this was 2020, because it was for COVID funds. They found out this fraud, the people collecting all this mass. I think it was 200 million that the total was, and the leader of that was a white woman. But they're sending this out that this is Somalian mass fraud on the government, and so they sent immigration agents into the state because of this. So Thomas and his colleagues, the Times said, was upset at a senior Justice Department official demanding a criminal inquiry into any ties between Good and her widow Becky, an activist group, and the refusal of the FBI to allow state investigators to join its investigations of the shooting. So what that's pretty much breaking down. Now, I'm quite sure y'all followed along, but I like to put stuff in layman's terms. After this ICE agent unalived his mother of 3, they refused to investigate the shooting. And what they wanted to do instead is investigate the lady's wife. Because the ICE officer who ended up doing the shooting, and I hope that YouTube is not blocking me saying shooting, but the ICE agent who ended up doing the bang bang, he released his own video. And how did he have his own video? Because he had a cell phone in one hand and the bang bang in the other, and the firearm in the other. I have never seen that, and I don't know how is that safe, and how is that a guideline or rule that any law enforcement is using, because don't you need both your hands? Like, if you're in danger, as you say you was, and you fear your life, why is you still got one hand on the phone and one hand with a firearm? So anyway, he released his video, and I'm assuming, to me, one reason was to show that, because it came out, the first thing was that she was a mother. And they kept saying the mother of a 6-year-old, but she actually have 3 kids. She has 2 teenagers, and the 6-year-old had just lost his father. And now this ICE agent unalived his mother. So then they released his video, and I think they did it thinking people will sympathize with him, because showing her wife to some people devalues her. Because at first they was just showing her picture saying she was a mother, and she was a white woman. And so they're like, oh, a white woman who's an American citizen that this ICE agent just unalived. And so now they showed this, to me, they were showing to show the wife. Now, I have no proof of that, but they started in articles, and news started reporting that now that she's this widower, and they initially came out saying she was a terrorist, a domestic terrorist. But her father spoke, and her father was saying that she's a Christian. She was a Christian all her life. She's a Christian woman. And the father was a Trump supporter. That recently came out. I heard that on the news this morning. So let's continue. That this is pretty much what that paragraph is saying, is that they quit, because some people quit because instead of investigating this firearm discharge that unalived this mother of 3, they wanted to investigate her wife. Separately, 4 leaders of a crucial division in the U.S. Justice Department have also resigned. The lawyers left the Civil Rights Division, which has a criminal investigation unit that investigates the use of force by police officer. According to MS Now, citing 3 people, said it was briefed about the departure. The resignations follow a decision by Harmit Dillon, the Trump administration aligned assistant attorney general for civil rights, not to investigate the January 7th unaliving of Good by Jonathan Ross. So the agent who did it, his name half came out, and it's Jonathan Ross, an immigration custom enforcement agent. So pretty much an ICE agent. So Jonathan told the unit the week before that it would not be involved in any investigation. No, I'm sorry, Dillon. Dillon told the unit the week before that it would not be involved in any investigation. So this is the Trump appointed assistant attorney general for civil rights. I don't even know why they got a appointment, anybody there for civil rights, because a lot of those people who follows Trump or that Trump appointed don't even believe there's a need for it. So why this man got his job? Elon Musk, where was you? Let me continue. On Tuesday, the Deputy Attorney General Todd Blanche said in a statement that there is currently no bias for a criminal civil rights investigation. I'm sorry, there's currently no basis for a criminal civil rights investigation. The statement, first reported by CNN, did not elaborate on how the department had reached a conclusion that no investigation was warranted. A Justice Department spokesperson confirmed the resignation in a statement to The Guardian, but denied they were related to the Minneapolis shooting. Although we typically don't comment on personal matters, we can confirm that the criminal section leadership gave notice to depart the Civil Rights Division and requested to participate in the Department of Justice early retirement program well before the events in Minnesota. Any suggestions to the contrary is false. The FBI seized total control of the investigation after freezing out local officials. A succession of Trump's administration officials, including the president himself, have portrayed Good without presenting evidence as a domestic terrorist or a paid agitator. While video of her confrontation with Ross appears to show her trying to steer her vehicle away from him when she was shot 3 times in the face. Multiple career prosecutor in Dillon's office offered to lead an inquiry into the shooting, but were told not to do so. The resignations are the latest in a flow of departments from the Civil Rights Division since Trump began his second term a year earlier. In May, The Guardian reported that more than 250 attorneys had left, been reassigned, or accepted a deferred resignation offer since January, a roughly 70% reduction. That's what I said. I could see them trying to get rid of this department the same way they're trying to get rid of the Board of Education. They're just slowly reducing it all. And then once, y'all know this in companies, once they reduce like a position or somebody leaves that position and they never fill it, they be like, well, see, we don't need the position. So that's what it seems like they're trying to do to the Civil Rights Division, in my opinion. Dillon, a former Republican official in California, an election denier who promoted the big lie that Trump 2020 election defeat was fraudulent, was confirmed by the Senate in April. She worked quickly to realign the division's priorities away from its long-standing work tackling discrimination and protecting the rights of marginalized groups and towards Trump political goals, including exposing voter fraud, which is rare, and focusing on anti-transgender issues. I don't think it's an overstatement to see this as the end of a division as we known it, a Civil Rights Division attorney told The Guardian at the time. Subsequently, in September, the online news outlet Notice reported that only 2 lawyers remain out of 36 at the Justice Department Public Integrity Unit assigned to investigation of corrupt politicians and law enforcement. Investigations officials to determine if they broke the law. Investigating officials to determine if they broke the law. Defied policy, failed to de-escalate, and resorted to deadly force without basis is one of the Civil Rights Division most solemn duties. Christian Clark, who led the division in the Biden administration, told MS Now. Prosecutors of the Civil Rights Division have for decades been the nation's leading expert in this work. The FBI investigation into Good's alleged link to activist groups protesting ICE activity in Minneapolis and elsewhere, meanwhile, aligns with White House message seeking to blame the victim for her death and absolve the ICE agents of responsibility. In the days since Good's killing, numerous Trump administration officials, including the Vice President J.D. Vance and Kristi Noem, the Homeland Security Secretary, have repeatedly alleged without evidence that she was engaged in domestic terrorism and that Ross was forced to shoot to save his own life and the lives of others. Good Noem said had been stalking officer. Meanwhile, on Tuesday, Trump published a post on Truth social platform asking, do the people of Minnesota really want to live in a community where there are thousands of deadly criminals too dangerous to even mention? Family members said Good, a mother of three, had just dropped her 6-year-old son off at school, and video shows her waving ICE vehicles past her car despite the assistance of Vance and others that she was deliberately blocking and impeding their work. Because in the video you can see that she is turned perpendicular. She is turned this way in the streets, but you see cars going in front of her and behind her. So she wasn't impeding their work, because actually it may be the car that the ICE agent who unalived her got out of went around her and parked and got out and confronted her wife. And I think that's when the wife said, you hungry, big boy, or go get lunch, big boy, or something like that. But yeah, they was able to get around. So Van says this is classic terrorism. Officials in Minneapolis have contracted the administration assertions and condemned its rush to judgment before an investigation had taken place. They're calling the victim a domestic terrorist. They're calling the actions of the agent involved as a form of defensive posture. We know that they're already determined much of the investigation. He said in the mayor phrased it in a statement. So now that's that. So yeah, you have federal agents who are resigning, or it seems like according to the Trump administration, they did not resign because of this. Pretty much it was forced retirement. I don't know if y'all had that happen. I have had that happen. And matter of fact, once Trump became elected at my company, the company I worked for, that they were doing, it's not forced retirement, it's called voluntary early retirement is the name of it. And so if you decide to retire early, they give you like this little bonus so you can retire early. And for the people that they offered it to and didn't take it, you pretty much get fired. So I mean, it's voluntary, I guess. So yeah, that's it. I'm gonna go. Y'all be safe out there. Enjoy the rest of y'all day. And that's all.
Have the day you voted for.
Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Hit all so you can see when I go live or drop these videos. Get down in these comments and then come on and talk to me. Even if you're mad, because I know with the title, the MAGA fingers are waiting, baby. They are waiting to type. I know that keyboard be like having smoke coming up off of it, y'all. But thank you for the interactions. Come on, tell them again, Jim.
Thank you. You love me. You really love me.
That's MAGA. Y'all love me. You really love me. I better get out of here. Enjoy the rest of y'all day. Try to remain